Okay, so today we're going to dive right in to addition strategy number 2. Addition strategy 2 is use objects. Okay, so we're going to use objects, and we're going to use the same problems that we did yesterday, just with our second strategy. So if you don't have objects at home, like I don't have a lot of stuff here that I can use, I'm going to make my own object. So I've been telling you guys that you can draw on a piece of paper a dot, a colored dot. I've got my crayon and I've drawn my colored dot, and I'm going to draw 10 of these and cut them out and use those as my objects. You can easily do that. And then after I show you how to do it with the paper and the cutout dots that I cut out, I'm going to show you how to get a little creative with what you've got at your house to use to be objects for some of your math problems. All right. After all of that hard work, I now have my 10 objects. So I'm going to show you in 2 different ways. I'm going to show you me using them on the table, and then I'm going to show you a picture and me using them on the computer. So know that these are my objects that I've cut out. When I move them on the computer, I still want you to have objects. It's not the same as drawing a picture, right? Awesome. Let's get started with this first problem. So remember, yesterday we watched Peppa Pig and her family go to the grocery store and go shopping. And we learned that they got 4 tomatoes, 1 spaghetti, 4 onions, and 1 fruit. I'm going to show you how I would work this problem out with my objects here in front of me. So I've got my objects here in front of me, and I'm looking at the problem right here. Okay? So I know that Peppa Pig and her family, they got 4 tomatoes. So I'm going to count out 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 tomatoes. And then I know that they got 1 box of spaghetti and then 4 onions. So 1, 2, 3, 4 onions. And then that 1 giant melon. Now that I've got all of my objects here, I can count them, right? So I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I know that Peppa Pig and her family got 10 different things at the grocery store. And I used my objects, my little homemade counters, to figure that out. Okay. So let me show you one more time on the computer how I would do it with my objects, right? So these are the same objects. I took a picture and I put it up here. It's the same object that I cut out. I'm not drawing, right? I'm using my objects. So if I wanted to redo this problem again, I could put them in the shopping cart and go 1, 2, 3, 4 tomatoes, 1 spaghetti, 4 onions, 3, 4, and 1 fruit. And then I could count them all up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 again. Okay, let's move on and see how we can get a little creative with objects around the house. I've got the same problem that we did yesterday, 5 and 3. And instead of drawing a picture this time, I'm going to use objects. So I've got this pool table here, and with a pool table, you've got pool balls. So I'm going to use my pool balls to be my objects for this. So I'm going to first get out 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 here. And then I'm going to get out 3 more. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to put them together and count how many I've got. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 pool balls all together. Do you guys remember yesterday? Is this the same answer that we got? Yes. So in using this addition strategy number 2, we've double checked our answer from yesterday. We went back and we checked it one more time. This is great practice. Make sure when you're doing these problems, you're not just doing them once. You should definitely do them twice. Doing them twice means using different strategies, right? So if we draw it twice, that's the same strategy and that's awesome. But if we made a mistake when we drew it, we might make that same mistake again. So in using a different strategy, then we are figuring out and we're double checking our answer with a different method. If we get 2 different answers, then we need to go to a third strategy and try and figure out which is the correct answer. We did this problem yesterday too, but let's do it with the pool balls just to double check, okay? So I've got 2 here, and then I'm gonna put 3 more, and I can supersize these because they're big and they look like supersizing dots. And now I'm going to put them together and I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many do I have all together? 5. That's exactly correct. Awesome. Let's do the next problem. Okay, we did this one yesterday too, but again, this is a different time with our objects, okay? So let's go on and let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? And then I've got 1, 2, and together I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Awesome. Is that the same answer that we got last time? Yes, it is. So our math is correct. Great job. Okay, so that was getting really creative with our math, and I'm sure that you guys can get really creative with your objects around the house too. In fact, if you get super creative and you use something really funny for math today, please send me a picture or a video on Class Dojo or on email so that I can laugh and see what you guys are doing for math. In this quarantine time, it's sometimes fun to get a little bit silly with some of these things. Okay. My challenge to you today is not only to get creative with those math objects that you're using, but also to play the Race to 10 game today, okay? Definitely play Race to 10. And while you're playing Race to 10, I want you to get creative with this game too. So remember how I cut out and made these little counters for myself? Instead of using counters or instead of using what I've been using for Race to 10, today I'm going to use my own counters. So I will roll that dice. And I got 2. And I'm going to use my own counters and I'm going to put them on these pieces, okay? I can keep track of this. Race to 10 is a great game to use objects because we use objects in Race to 10. So make sure that when you're doing this, you're keeping track of what you're doing on your Race to 10 board. You're asking those questions and you use something silly. So like if you want to use Lego men or if you've got something else funny like those tiny little well, LOL dolls are bigger, but there are those tiny little doll things that you have. If you want to use those in your Race to 10 game, get really creative, have a great time, and make sure that you're really, that big P word that we like to use, patient, because you need someone to play this game with you. So whether it's mom, dad, brother, sister, cousin, uncle, grandma, grandpa, be patient and teach them the game, okay? Have a great math day.